You think the family truckster was just a movie prop. Wait till you hear the 15 crazy secrets hidden in this green beast.
Clark's 1979 family truckster was built on a Ford LTD Country Squire, but became the most infamous movie car ever created. The stunt coordinator cleared over 50 FT in the desert launch to win a bet, and faithful replicas now sell for $100,000 at auction. But why is the design credit still disputed after 40 years? How did a trash can liner become the most memorable airbag in cinema? And which screen-used truckster appeared with Chevy Chase in a chicken commercial decades later? These are 15 weird facts about the family truckster that will completely blow your mind. Number 15, the name that never existed. Here's a fact that still surprises people today. There was never a real Wagon Queen car company. The name Wagon Queen Family Truckster was invented entirely for the movie, designed to sound like a real American automaker from the late 1970s that had completely lost touch with reality. The film's creators wanted something that felt both official and ridiculous, the kind of name that promised power and class but actually screamed disaster. They nailed it. The word truckster itself was chosen because it sounded heavy, clunky, and awkward. Everything the car was supposed to represent. It perfectly matched the film's theme, a family car that looked luxurious but drove like a tank. Many viewers didn't even realize it was fake. Some even wrote to Ford and Chrysler asking if they ever sold a truckster wagon. That's how convincing the parody was. The name became so iconic that replica builders and fans still proudly use the fake Wagon Queen badge when restoring their versions today. It's funny. A name that was created as a joke ended up becoming one of the most recognizable titles in movie car history. Proof that sometimes even the most absurd ideas can outlast the real thing. Number 14. The real car behind the joke. While the truckster looked like something no sane person would ever drive, it actually started life as a 1979 Ford LTD Country Squire, one of America's most popular full-size wagons at the time. The filmmakers used it as a base because it perfectly captured the look of suburban excess, long, heavy, and overloaded with fake luxury. But by the late 70s, cars like the Country Squire had become symbols of a fading era. Gas was expensive, downsizing was in, and nobody wanted giant wagons anymore. That's exactly what made it the perfect foundation for a parody. The movie's production team stripped down a real Squire and rebuilt it into something intentionally awful. They added wood paneling in all the wrong places, a crooked grille, and that unforgettable metallic pea green paint, a color mixed just to look sickly. Underneath all the ugliness, though, it still had the same 400 cubic inch Ford V8 engine that the original car used, meaning it could actually drive like a real station wagon. In fact, several of the stunt cars were driven hundreds of miles during filming. It's ironic. The most ridiculous car in movie history started as a completely normal family wagon, proving that even the most boring cars can achieve immortality with the right amount of bad taste. Number 13. The car that was never supposed to be ugly hard to believe. But the family truckster wasn't meant to look this bad. The Warner Brothers art team originally wanted to exaggerate a luxury wagon, not destroy one. Then director Harold Ramis gave the note that changed everything. Make it the car no sane person would ever buy. So, the crew mixed parts from a Crown Victoria, a Country Squire, and a random grill that looked stolen from a refrigerator. Every wrong detail became intentional. The oversized roof rack, fake wood, and mismatched panels. What started as parody turned into perfection. By the time it hit the set, the truckster looked like Detroit's worst nightmare, a rolling joke about America's obsession with excess. It wasn't a mistake. It was comedy built from chaos. Number 12. The man behind the madness. Behind every great movie car, there's usually one genius quietly holding it all together. For the truckster, that man was George Barris, the legendary Hollywood customizer best known for creating the 1966 Batmobile. But here's where things get complicated. Barris later claimed full credit for designing the family truckster, yet Warner Brothers records and crew members told a very different story. According to them, the car was actually designed and built by the studio's own transportation department, not Barris's shop. So who's telling the truth? Most historians agree Barris might have had some early involvement, maybe concept sketches or quick advice, but the actual cars came to life inside Warner's workshop. Still, Barris's name became tied to the truckster through years of fan conventions and interviews where he happily embraced the legend. Ironically, it didn't matter who really built it. Once the film hit theaters, the truckster became one of the most recognizable cars in Hollywood history. This debate still pops up today among collectors and car historians, making it one of the strangest mysteries in movie car lore. Whether it was Barris or Warner Brothers, one thing's for sure. Whoever shaped that bizarre beast created an icon that outlived everyone's expectations. Sometimes the line between fact and myth is just as twisted as the car itself. Number 11. Built for chaos. Not comfort you'd think a car that carried an entire movie would be built for comfort, but the family truckster was pure chaos on wheels. Warner Brothers made several versions, each for a specific purpose. One for close-ups, one for driving shots, one for stunts, and one purposely wrecked for the film's finale. None were meant to last. The jump car was heavily modified with a roll cage and reinforced suspension to survive the desert launch. It flew high, landed hard, and nearly tore itself apart. The beauty car was kept clean for scenes with Chevy Chase, while the rest were patched together with bolts, tape, and luck. By the time filming ended, most were falling apart, dented, cracked, and missing panels. A few survived and were later restored by collectors. Ironically, the car designed to fail became one of Hollywood's most enduring icons. Number 10. The desert jump that became Legend 1. Of the wildest moments in National Lampoon's Vacation is that insane desert jump. The scene where the truckster soars through the air like a green brick with wheels. But that stunt wasn't just for laughs. It was a real high-risk gamble by stunt coordinator Dick Zeiker. The story goes that Zeiker made a bet with crew members, claiming he could clear 50 feet of open desert in that massive wagon. Most people thought he was joking, until he proved them wrong. The jump car was heavily reinforced for the stunt. It had a full roll cage, heavy-duty shocks, and a balanced weight setup so it wouldn't nosedive on impact. When cameras rolled, Zeiker hit the ramp at the perfect speed, launching the truckster higher and farther than anyone expected. It landed hard, bending the frame and nearly destroying the car, but the shot was perfect. The entire crew erupted in cheers, and Zeiker pocketed his winnings. That one moment became one of the most famous movie car stunts of the 1980s. What makes it even crazier is that no CGI or camera trickery was used, just raw mechanical power and guts. The battered truckster was towed off set afterward, but its short flight turned it into a Hollywood legend. It's still one of the most dangerous and ridiculous stunts ever pulled off in a family comedy. Number 9. The dealership that became Hollywood history, I guess. The unforgettable scene where Clark Griswold buys the family truckster wasn't filmed on a set. It happened at a real place, Glendale Dodge in California. The crew transformed the showroom into Lou Glutz Motors, complete with fake banners and Eugene Levy's hilarious salesman act. The actual dealership staff watched as their workplace became a piece of movie history. During filming, Clark's old Vista Cruiser was crushed right in the service bay on a real, working Oldsmobile destroyed for a few seconds of comedy. Employees were stunned. After the film's release, fans started visiting the dealership just to see where the infamous car swap happened. For years, Glendale Dodge kept the Lou Glutz Motors signs up as a tribute. The lot is gone now, but that spot remains one of Hollywood's most unique landmarks, where the ugliest wagon in cinema officially hit the road. Number 8. The paint color. That should have been a crime. Few movie cars are remembered for their color, but the family truckster's hideous metallic pea green paint became as famous as the car itself. It wasn't a real Ford color. The Warner Brothers paint department actually mixed it by hand, trying to create something that looked cheap, outdated, and just plain wrong. They combined dull shades of green, gold, and gray until it looked like a blend between baby food and oxidized metal. The goal? To make audiences cringe the second the car appeared on screen. In the movie, Clark originally orders an Antarctic blue super sports wagon. Sleek, stylish, and the total opposite of what he gets. That mismatch perfectly sets the tone for the Griswold family vacation, a dream crushed by bad luck before the trip even starts. The truckster's color became a running joke on set. Chevy Chase once called it the color of despair, Over the years, replica builders have tried to match that awful shade, but none can get it exactly right. Some use modern metallic greens with gold pearl, others mix custom pigments, yet the original still has a unique, nauseating glow under sunlight. It's ironic that a color designed to look awful became legendary. Today, fans proudly paint their replicas that same awful hue, a reminder that sometimes ugly can be iconic. Number 7. The fake wood that fooled everyone. One of the Truckster's most recognizable features wasn't the color or the headlights, it was the absurd fake wood paneling that covered nearly every inch of the car. While the real 1979 Ford Country Squire used a subtle vinyl wood trim on the doors, the movie team decided to go overboard. They plastered the Truckster's hood, roof pillars, and even parts of the bumpers with wood grain stickers. It looked so excessive that it turned into an unintentional joke about how far American car design had fallen by the late 70s. The prop department didn't even try to make the wood look perfect. In fact, they purposely misaligned the panels, left air bubbles under the vinyl, and added seams that didn't match. Some sections even started peeling off under the California heat during filming, which the crew decided to keep because it made the car look more pathetic. The message was clear. This wasn't luxury. It was pretend luxury. Ironically, that tacky fake wood is now one of the car's most iconic details. Replica builders spend hours trying to match the exact pattern and tone of that plastic veneer, using digital prints and custom laminates. What was meant as a cheap gag has become a high-end restoration challenge. Only in Hollywood could bad taste become a badge of honor. Number 6. The 8-headlight monster. The Truckster's face was a masterpiece of bad design, 8 headlights, all stacked and misaligned, like a fever dream from a confused engineer. But there was a reason behind that madness. The production team wanted the front end to look like something that might have rolled out of Detroit in a moment of panic. Over-designed, over-chromed, and overly proud. To achieve it, the Warner Brothers shop took spare headlight assemblies from other Ford models, flipped a few upside down, and built custom brackets to hold them in place. It wasn't as simple as bolting on a few lights. The wiring had to be completely redone so that all 8 bulbs could actually function during filming. Each Truckster had a slightly different configuration depending on which one was being shot. From a distance, it looked hilarious. The car seemed to stare back at you, bug-eyed and bewildered. The design was also a clever parody of America's obsession with excess in the late 70s. Bigger engines, more chrome, more lights. Everything had to scream attention. The Truckster mocked that perfectly. When Chevy Chase pulled up in that rolling monstrosity for the first time, audiences laughed immediately. That grotesque front end became the movie's visual punchline, proof that sometimes the uglier the design, the better the story it tells. Number 5. The sound of the beast. When the Truckster fired up on set, it didn't just start, it roared. That unforgettable growl wasn't the standard hum of a family wagon. The prop team had modified the car's original Ford V8 to make it sound more dramatic for the cameras. They opened up the exhaust, removed a few silencers, and tuned the idle so it rumbled unevenly, giving the impression that the car was barely holding itself together. That shaky, clunky sound became part of its personality, a perfect reflection of Clark's doomed vacation. During filming, sound engineers used multiple microphones around the car to capture every sputter, ping, and cough of the engine. Then, in post-production, they layered in additional growls from trucks and even a small airplane engine to make it sound heavier. The result was a noise that perfectly matched the Truckster's look. Loud, awkward, and slightly embarrassing. Fans who've built replicas often try to recreate that same sound. Some even install custom exhaust systems to make their wagons rumble like the Griswolds. It's a strange kind of dedication, spending thousands just to make your car sound hilariously broken. But that's the magic of the Truckster. It was never meant to impress. It was meant to make you laugh every time it started. Number 4. The forgotten stunt car during production. Several versions of the Truckster were built, but one of them, known among crew members as the ghost car, mysteriously vanished after filming. It wasn't destroyed in a stunt or scrapped for parts. It just disappeared. According to set reports, this particular Truckster was used for highway scenes and long-distance shots. After production wrapped, it was loaded onto a transport truck for return shipping and was never seen again. Some rumors suggest it was accidentally sold at a studio surplus auction for a few $100s, mislabeled as a Ford wagon. Others believe a crew member quietly bought it to save it from the junkyard. Over the decades, a few enthusiasts have claimed to own the lost truckster, but none could prove their car was the real deal. Movie historians call it one of the great mysteries of Hollywood's car world. The surviving trucksters that are verified today were either stunt wrecks or display cars, not the elusive ghost car. If it still exists, it's probably rotting in a forgotten barn somewhere in California, covered in dust, waiting for someone to lift the tarp and realize what they've found. A one-of-a-kind piece of cinematic chaos hiding in plain sight. Number 3, the airbag. That wasn't an airbag. One of the funniest moments in National Lampoon's Vacation is when the truckster's airbag suddenly explodes in Clark's face. But here's the secret. It wasn't an airbag at all. In 1983, airbags were still rare and experimental, so the crew had to improvise. The prop department rigged up a trash can liner attached to a hidden compressed air tank under the dashboard. At the exact cue, the liner inflated and slapped Chevy Chase right in the face. And just like that, comedy gold was born. They tested that gag dozens of times to get the timing perfect. Chase had to sit still as the crew reloaded new liners after every take. The tricky part was making it look like a real deployment without actually hurting him. The scene was so convincing that many viewers believed it was an early real-life airbag demonstration, even though it was nothing more than clever, low-budget engineering. That moment became one of the movie's most quoted scenes, and decades later, it's still studied in film schools as an example of practical effects done right. No CGI, no fancy props, and just a trash bag, air pressure, and perfect timing. It's proof that when it comes to comedy, the simplest ideas often create the biggest laughs. Number 2, the 2015 comeback. Nobody expected more than 3 decades after National Lampoon's Vacation hit theaters. The Family Truckster made a surprising return in the 2015 Vacation reboot. The new movie, starring Ed Helms as Clark's grown-up son Rusty, included a hidden tribute to the original wagon. In one scene, Rusty uncovers the old truckster in his garage, covered in dust and cobwebs, before it briefly roars back to life. That car wasn't a leftover prop. It was a newly built replica made by Warner Brothers just for the reboot. The studio's art team hunted down an authentic 1980s Ford LTD Country Squire and painstakingly recreated every odd detail. The metallic P-paint, the fake wood panels, even the wobbly crown hood ornament. Unlike the original movie versions, though, this new truckster was fully road legal and mechanically sound. It could actually be driven cross-country, something the old stunt cars could never do. After filming, the 2015 truckster went on tour, appearing at car shows, comic conventions, and red carpet events. Fans lined up to take pictures beside it, proving the car had become more than a punchline. It was a symbol of nostalgia. In a strange twist of fate, the car built to mock American design had become one of its most beloved icons. Number 1, the replicas that outshine the originals. Here's the ultimate irony about the Family Truckster. The replicas built by fans today are far better than the real ones used in the movie. The original cars were quickly thrown together by Warner Bros. Prop builders in 1983. They were made for gags, not longevity, filled with fiberglass, glue, and last-minute fixes. After filming, most were left to rot in studio lots or sold off for next to nothing. But over time, passionate fans and builders began creating their own versions, determined to bring the ugly legend back to life. These modern replicas are built with precision and care. Craftsmen use high-quality materials, modern automotive paint, and real chrome instead of prop-grade trim. Some even add hidden upgrades like air conditioning, improved suspension, and better brakes. The result? A car that looks just as ridiculous as the original, but actually runs like a dream. A few of these custom. Trucksters have sold for over $100,000 at major auctions, more than the original movie cars ever fetched. The most famous replica, built for the Volo Auto Museum in Illinois, has appeared in TV commercials, fan events, and even reunited with Chevy Chase himself. The irony is perfect. A car designed to mock bad taste has become a symbol of craftsmanship, passion, and comedy history. The family truckster started as a joke and ended up as an icon. Before you roll out, don't let the ride stop here. If you love stories of the cars that made us laugh, dream, and remember what the open road feels like, hit that subscribe